This has happened to me before, Joe. Don't worry about it.
Who brings us today's
Josh
episode?
Arnold, investment consultant. Wait a minute.
Yep.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
I want to do it again.
Wait
two.
just a doggone minute.
Josh Arnold, investment consultant, brings you Garage Logic podcast number 1563, June 13th, 2025, Friday the 13th. Ooh. And the final day of a week-long record high set in 1956. It was 100 degrees on this day in 1956, and as chilly as 37 degrees on the morning of this day in 1969. Call Josh at 952-925-5608 for a free 48-minute consultation.
Hail the flashlight king.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner.
Hi.
Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop.
Yeah.
John Heidt in the newsroom. And, of course, the rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Souchere.
Yesterday, I, against my better judgment, mentioned the miserable failure I had in ordering too much mulch. And I've gotten some wonderful explanations. Jesse writes, "Hail the flashlight king.
Hail you.
A cubic yard is
Oh,
27 cubic feet. Think of a cube which is 3 feet long, 3 feet wide, and 3 feet high. 3 times 3 is 9. Times 3 is 27.
3 cubed.
What you do is you measure your area length and width, which gives you square feet. If you make it 1 foot deep, that's cube. Okay, I'm not reading that one any further.
No, wait. I was totally with them there because I'm imagining my driveway space.
If you make it 1 foot deep, if you make it 1 foot deep, that's cubic feet. So if you only want 6 inches deep, multiply the square feet
Never
of the
mind.
space. By,
Never mind, Joe. I'm out.
It was the pause that threw Kenny off. You paused, damn
you
it.
would have kept going.
And the second one is, first one was Jesse. This one's from Josh. Hail the flashlight king.
Hail you.
That's more like it.
Yeah, that was into it.
Joe, I think your knack scale may have taken a hit. While materials like sand and rock are typically sold by the ton, materials of variable weight like mulch and soil are sold by the cubic yard, often referred to as a yard. That is a volume of material that measures, here we go again, 3 feet long by 3 feet wide and 3 feet deep. If you ordered 45 cubic yards of mulch, that would be enough to make a 135-foot mound that is 3 feet wide and 3 feet deep. Holy mackerel. For additional comparison, there are approximately 202 gallons in a cubic yard, meaning you ordered about 9,000 gallons of mulch.
Nice.
Or about 1,800 5-gallon pails worth. I don't know the conversion to Olympic-sized swimming pools. I'll let you do that math. Thank you for allowing us inside your experience. Keep up the Garage Logic entertainment. We need it now more than anything. Thanks again, and see you at Cedar Lake Speedway.
Oh, good.
Nice.
Josh Stenslin, Winnebago, Minnesota. Age 42, card-carrying member of the GL Town Council, and soon to be a CI of 64. So
Excellent.
He's well over his age.
Excellent.
Well over his age.
Yeah,
Do you have more? Because I have something I think can make you
I had a
feel-
lot of them, but they're all from smart people, and I just can't handle it.
When I lived in South Minneapolis, traveling to and from the station via different routes every day, I would constantly find, about this time of year, big, huge piles of mulch with a sign on them that said free.
Really?
So don't feel bad.
It's
You're
like
not the
Roadrunner.
only one.
You know what we are?
Birdseed.
You know what we are in the
Right.
Twin Cities? We're pretty mulchy.
You are,
Like
but
our
it's
mulch.
It's
it's
a mulch.
cool.
We're pretty sold on mulch, aren't we?
Why aren't we?
Why
Just 'cause
anyway?
it's
What the
decorative.
hell? Why did I do this? What's
It's
the
cheap.
point?
It's cheap, decorative.
It's a clean look. It
I
makes
think it's cheap weed control.
Well, I was going to ask, have we broken down the differences in mulch? Because you have a decorative mulch, correct?
No, in fact, that's another interesting point.
Oh.
I think I got your standard mulch.
Oh, you've got the kind of mulch I make
'Cause
that
I
goes
was-
on the garden every winter.
I was talking to a lawn service guy across the street and pointed to the mulch and said, "You guys want any mulch?" And he said, "Well, we've got a mulch project coming up, but it's dark mulch." But, so he was going for the fancy mulch. I got the run-of-the-mill.
Well, there's red, there's
I got
yellow.
Hyundai mulch.
You said yesterday that it smells like manure.
No, it's got hints of manure.
It, in fact, probably has some in it.
Sure.
Because I make this mulch out of manure and dirt and leaves and grass clippings. Then we put it on the garden in the winter, and then we till it in the spring.
This ain't
This
that.
is-
This is wood chips.
Yeah. Okay. It's wood chips.
Yeah.
Because that stuff we go buy.
I was reminded earlier today.
You don't have to buy it. You get that little pickup truck of yours down here. You can have all you
But
can
no,
take.
three of your
don't
buddies.
disrespect 3 pickup trucks.
Bring them. Yeah,
I got 3. Why? I was reminded earlier today, Joe, that, and Rook, you'll remember this as well, we had to do an emergency weekly scramble due to Mike's travel schedule, so we did it this morning. And Mike heard the story yesterday, and he said, does Joe even remember that was his infamous hiccup the first time he did a Fratelloni's ad? He had a tough time with the word mulch.
I don't
I
remember
don't
that.
remember that.
Because Mike remembered that, and I vaguely do remember that.
Mulch.
Because you two were in the giggling mood. It must have been the giggly Friday mood.
Yeah, fun Friday.
And Joe was getting hung up on the word mulch.
Mulch.
And they had a good laugh.
How much is left, Joe? All of it?
Plenty.
You know what you should do? You should put out a Craigslist ad.
You know what you're
Come on
gonna
up here,
have to
1, 2,
do?
3 Cambridge.
No, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to call a guy with a dump box and a skid loader, and you're going to have to pay somebody to remove that. So it's going to cost you to have. Oh, I shouldn't laugh. Oh, I'm sorry, Joe.
How high can you pile mulch on a garden? I mean, are you going for round 2
Do you
now?
know how big Buck Hill is, Matthew?
Okay, got it. I mean, I know you got the big mound, but I'm saying now, have the kids, hey, let's do it again.
Like
round
they're
2.
jumping in a pile of leaves.
Right.
You know
Jump
that
in the mulch.
You know that commercial for Land Rover where the hedge fund manager and his, his Pilates-trained, glamorous wife and the 2 well-behaved kids are chewing through some difficult terrain to get to a mountainous plateau.
Yes.
That's what it's like trying to back
Okay,
out.
that's how now I have a visual.
Well, didn't you run over some landscaping yesterday to get to work?
Quite a bit.
Oh my God! You are the opposite of what is his name? Red Green. You should be your own reality show.
How much did you order? I wasn't here yesterday, so I missed the story.
John, I ordered 45 yards.
Oh, jeez.
Because we don't. John and I admitted yesterday I've ordered stuff. I have no idea what a yard is.
Oh, yeah. But 45 seems
I have
excessive.
I have a new theory.
Here we go.
The number 45 yards came from a proposal my landscaper friend sent me. And he's done work for me for 20 years. He's great. And he particularly covets a particular rock I have to the point where I might leave it to him in my will. He's a good guy. So if he said 45 yards, I ordered 45 yards. I have a new theory. I just don't think it was laid. The guys did a great job. 3 kids that just graduated from high school. They did fine. I'm just wondering if it should have been laid on much thicker, thus depleting the pile more.
Mm-hmm. Too bad you don't know anybody in your neighborhood with a big hole in their backyard. You could just dump it all in there.
The neighbors have been very good at taking it. I came
one,
out
come
last night, and
The parade line.
I came out last night with the blower just to try to maintain some decency in the street.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's all gone out into the street.
I bet
too.
the rain helped, too.
And
Yeah.
Attention neighbors. Attention neighbors. Jim, I know you're in there. Come over here.
well, see, that's the problem. If you're on one side of the pile, you can't hear a guy or see a guy, so
Here
you
I
don't
am.
know.
I'm behind pile number 1. Can you see me? I'm waving my hand.
So I come out last night, and I know the kids had left 2 wheelbarrows on the house side of the pile, so they couldn't be seen from the street. But one of them was missing when I came out, and I went, damn it. Somebody ripped off a wheelbarrow. So I went about my blowing duties and thinking, oh, Christ, I'm sorry, I was praying there. I got to buy somebody a wheelbarrow now. And then the next thing I know, Wade from across the street, he's got his wheelbarrow and he's wheeling up to get another load. And I said, is that your wheelbarrow? And he said, no, I took it from you. So it wasn't stolen at all.
Oh, good.
So they're not only taking it, they're borrowing the equipment to take
no
it.
charge on borrowing the wheelbarrow. Just see to it that you bring it back. Thank you.
They got the right rakes, the shovels, the whole deal.
So what we've learned then from this story is that next year what you're going to need is for
You don't
Kenny,
do this every year, Chris.
for Kenny to come down with the homemade manure mulch.
Yeah,
for
I'll
you
bring you
next
my
year.
own mix, my signature mix.
Like the pickles. Like the pickles.
Yeah. I'll throw in a jar of pickles for you.
If anybody is still left in this country who specializes in mulch management, the next time it's done, they're getting hired.
Why don't you just sell it back to the garden store?
But the rate we're going, we're chasing these guys out of garden beds and across farm fields and pulling them out of restaurants.
Right.
Let's go here. How about they just leave some people alone who are working?
How about some mulch?
Yeah.
I'm still unclear on what a yard is. I want to see
3
a
by
pile.
3 by 3.
Now, I want to see a pile with a guy standing next to it. This is
like drawn to scale or.
Yeah, this is 5
Okay.
yards. That's what I want to see.
Be careful what you wish for.
Be careful what you wish for.
Mark in Plymouth is referring to an emailer yesterday who said he left Minneapolis after living in Ward 9 for 15 years.
Okay.
And the bad guys got to their neighborhood. His house burned, the whole deal.
Oh, man.
Remember
Yeah.
that email?
Yep.
And he said, be careful what you wish for. I'm seeing more and more progressives moving into my northwest suburb of Minneapolis. 20 years ago, this area was solidly Republican. Well, that's back when Republicans were Republicans and Democrats were Democrats. Jim Ramstad was our congressman. Well, you couldn't have beat him for a normal human being, right? And our state house and Senate seats were red, too. Today, the pendulum has swung. Dean Phillips and now Kelly Morrison. I even think Dean Phillips is sane compared to what's going on.
I would take Dean in a heartbeat.
Dean Phillips and now Kelly Morrison have held our congressional seat. Ginny Clevorn has represented my district in the Minnesota House since beating Sarah Anderson in 2018. Her bio notes she's Catholic and attended St. Louis University, the Jesuits. Yet her top endorsements are from Planned Parenthood and Pro-Choice Minnesota. Our state senator, Bonnie Westland, also boasts a Planned Parenthood endorsement, all Democrats. If that writer fled to escape progressive policies, they may soon find them again. And if the new arrivals leaving their quaint Minneapolis stucco two-door homes bring their incomes, they're likely landing in Plymouth, Minnetonka, and Wayzata. Maybe it's time to head to Albertville, where Representative Hudson, State Senator Lucero, and U.S. Representative Tom Emmer are still holding the line. I got quite a few comments about the people living in the cities and what they think about it. Here's a fellow who writes, I've had my share of run-ins with our Somali population, being a denizen of the belly of the beast. They are best avoided. The best we can come up with is to not patronize any sort of establishment with Somali ties and avoid doing business at all with the same. Not terribly difficult at this point, but the best we can do from where we sit. Also, any sort of charity has to be vetted to be sure it is not in any way associated with our Somali friends. That sounds like we are raging bigots, and in this case, we are. Keep this in mind. The next-door neighbor to the north is Hispanic, Cuban to be specific, and to the south, an African-American couple. We're all friendly, wonderful neighbors for years and years and years. It's behavior, not race or ethnicity. But it seems that based on experience, I can generalize about Somalis. I could use words like arrogant, conniving, duplicitous, and thieving, but I won't. It's against my nature to have such thoughts, let alone express them, but here we are. My name is Citizen. And Right from our chief correspondent from the belly of the beast, Steve Mulholland, writes up, just following up on the discussion of the crime and violence emanating from the young Somali population in the Twin Cities. You know that we like our firsts, and WCCO's Uba Ali is touted as the first American Somali TV reporter in the Twin Cities. I've seen her. She does a fine job. She's on Channel 4.
Yep.
Aside from that, she filed this story, link below, on Thursday's 10 p.m. newscast. I give her credit for directly addressing the crime that has transpired. Compliments of the misguided Somali youth. I guess it was wise of CCO to hire a Somali reporter to cover stories like this, as similar reports would likely not be as well received coming from a Norwegian American. There are Somali residents who share their views in the story and appear sincerely concerned, which is encouraging. But of course, and this I meant to get this the other day because this comes up all the time. But the requisite, wouldn't it be nice if we had a youth center soundbite, was cited in one of the interviews. Why is this always the default solution? Is absence of a youth center the reason for gunfire at graduations and shooting fireworks at people on the 4th of July? Enforcing the law and suffering consequences seems like a more effective deterrent, but I guess a basketball court would be nice. It will be interesting to see how all the commencement carnage of 2025 shakes out. With the same individuals committing shootings in both Hennepin County, Wayzata at Mariucci, and Dakota County, Burnsville, I certainly hope Mary Moriarty does not get her way. Keep pushing back. Loyal listener in the belly of the beast, area of Minneapolis, Steve. It's almost a cliche that every time a so-called Somali leader is interviewed, they say, how about a little something, like a youth center? Oh, build your own damn youth center.
Right.
And plus, like he says, how's a youth center going to stop gunplay? How's a youth center going to stop you from horizontally shooting fireworks at people?
Machine guns.
The only shooting we had in my neighborhood was Somali related, and it was at the park building across the street where kids were playing basketball.
The youth center.
Thank you. Yes.
It was at the youth center.
Yes, it was. Yes.
Wonder if they have youth centers in Sioux Falls.
With gunplay or without?
I gotta
hopefully.
think it would be without. In addition, having a business-friendly tax environment with no personal or corporate state income taxes, Sioux Falls is growing, has a large, well-educated workforce. The cost of living is low. It's centrally located, and they have developed industrial parks, so your cost of doing business is low. If you're thinking about moving your business or expanding or starting a new one, contact the Sioux Falls Development Foundation. Voted by Empower as the most affordable city in the country and voted by Forbes as the best small city for business and careers. And South Dakota is one of the most business-friendly states in the country. As the state's largest city with a metro population of almost 300,000, Sioux Falls has low business costs and high quality of life. No inheritance tax, by the way. No limits to what your business can achieve. Find everything you need to know at SiouxFallsDevelopment.com. This is Reusse. You've been hearing my friend Josh Arnold, Mr. Money Talk, for years on the radio and the Garage Logic podcast. With summer coming on, I strongly recommend you sit down with Josh for your no-cost, no-obligation, 48-minute consultation on your investments, including your IRA and 401k. You can benefit from Josh's years of experience navigating different market and economic conditions, and he'll always give you straight talk, not sugar-coated advice. Give Josh a call now at 952-925-5608 and book your no-cost, no-obligation 48-minute consultation. 952-925-5608. You'll be glad that you did meet with Josh, and tell him that Reusse sent you.
There we go.
It's the end of the world as we know it, and he feels fine. Joe Souchere.
The big three Seafoam products every GLer should have on hand. Of course, a spray bottle or two of Bugs Be Gone. Carry them with you in your daily driver. The Seafoam engine treatment, that keeps your cylinders happy. And the amazing Deep Creep penetrating oil works better than any other product on the market. The Bugs Be Gone. Now, I'm not stretching the truth even a little bit here. It's amazing and it works as promised. The one-time hassle of trying to scrub all those bugs off your windshield, those baked on bugs, the Seafoam Bugs Be Gone makes it super easy. Spray it on, let it set there, and then get out the squeegee and do the windshield like you would if there weren't any bugs at all. That's how easy it is. Of course, the motor treatment has been proving itself for decades. And the Seafoam Deep Creep penetrating oil, it's all you'll ever need for lubing, restoring, displacing moisture. Works better than any other product on the shelf. It's the GLers. What are we calling it? The emergency car care kit?
It's a nice kit.
Yeah, Deep Creep, Bugs Be Gone, and the engine treatment additive. Buy all three and give them as a gift. You'll be loved and appreciated for your effort. They're our own local company with a global reach. They are the best. They are Seafoam.
Mike has a wonderful note, wonderful idea. He says, I wonder how many transgender athletes are just average.
Matt, that would be you and me if we decided to transition.
Or end up just sitting on the bench.
We'd ride the bench on the girls' team.
Exactly.
I have yet to
Would I be the water girl, not the water boy?
I have yet to meet a female athlete that I would be better than.
It seems as though all the transgender athletes we hear about are champions, or at least among the elite. That I'm just having a great cartoon bubble of the transgender athlete who's just not very good.
Sounds like an SNL skit, doesn't it?
Right.
Why?
Like John Belushi with the wig on.
Why would you go out for the team? Well, you know, and they'd be with wokeism invading the field academy. You'd be almost compelled to keep the kid on the team, and the kid's at the end of the bench.
Yeah.
Wouldn't get to play much.
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
And I didn't even have to transition.
That's funny. I'll tell you something else.
What do you got, Joe?
It's all about standards, isn't it? Standards.
Yes, should be.
This came up. Pat and I have talked about this. I don't know that it came up on GL, but we're about to get a new saint in the Roman Catholic Church. Carlos Acutis, a very young guy. He died. God bless him. Well, I guess God has already blessed him if they're going to make him a saint. His canonization was originally scheduled for April 27, but as you know, the Pope Francis died, so the canonization process has been changed now to September, and that's been set by the new Pope, Pope Leo. And it's going to be the church's first millennial-era saint. All right, what are the millennials? The youngest generation?
No,
They're about,
not
what,
anymore.
20 to 35? Is it that age range?
Well,
25 to 35?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Something like that.
Well, but he was 15 when he died in 2006. So he was really young. He had a bout of leukemia. He was, but see, he's going to be made a saint, and I keep looking for the miracle.
What age did you say he was, Joe?
He was 15 when he died in northern Italy in the year 2006.
So between the ages of 1981 and 1996, those born between those 2 years are the millennial generation. So that would fit this
So he was born in
1991, right? You said 2006. Sorry, 2000. Wait, yeah, 91.
No, you're right. Yeah.
Millennials are those born between 81 and 96.
They would be between
Then
the
he's a
ages of
millennial.
29
Okay.
and
Well,
44.
what he did is he was pretty good on the computer, and he created an online exhibit about more than 100 Eucharistic miracles recognized by the church over many centuries. He did a science project.
I'm not feeling this one.
I mean, this is right there with a card trick.
I'm with Pat. I want my saints to be martyred.
Where's the standards here? I'm sure he was a wonderful young man, and I guess
Sainthood's no small thing.
And he's going in with another guy named Giorgio Frassati.
What'd Fasadi do?
He died after having polio. Well, now there is a miracle.
What's the miracle? It's got to be.
In the case of the young fellow who died at 15, there was the medically inexplicable healing of a Costa Rican woman who suffered a severe head injury when she fell off her bike in Florence in 2022. The young woman's mother prayed at the tomb of this young fellow, Acutis, and soon thereafter her daughter's condition improved. The first miracle was in 2013 in Brazil and concerned a young boy with a grave pancreatic disorder who got better after praying to Acutis. Okay, well, I guess that's the new. I guess if you pray to the fellow and you get cured, somebody's keeping track of that, and it counts as a saint.
Okay.
Yeah. I noticed this today. I noticed this has come up before on the show. In fact, it's been in my life for 50 years. The funding of National Public Radio and Minnesota Public Radio and public television, what have you. And we're learning, this is dated yesterday, we're learning that yesterday the House voted to approve the Trump White House's rescission request, including a measure that claws back nearly $1.1 billion in already approved federal funding for the Corporation of Public Broadcasting, the entity that provides federal support for NPR and PBS affiliates across the country. Earlier in the year, Congress approved $535 million a year in federal spending for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting through the end of 2027. On June 3, Trump sent Congress the rescission request, which started a process that gave lawmakers a window of 45 days to adopt Trump's measure by a simple majority vote in both chambers. The issue was taken up by the Senate, where numerous Democrats and some Republicans have already voiced opposition to defunding public media. Free Press Action co-CEO Craig Aaron said, "The House has endangered the future of public broadcasting in America. The Senate must listen to the public and put a stop to this attack on essential educational programming, invaluable accountability journalism, and life-saving public information. Congress should reject this attempt to roll back funds." B as in B, S as in S. A decisive majority of people across the U.S. oppose Trump's outrageous bid to end federal support for NPR, and PBS. Over the years, poll after poll has shown that people of all political stripes believe that funding public broadcasting is a worthy use of taxpayer dollars. Okay. I do not.
Right.
And I don't begrudge anybody who works for NPR. These are fine people. They're reporters and entertainers, and I love some of the DJs I hear, and I get it all. It's fine, but why do I have to pay for it? You're my competition.
I've got a lot to say about this, and let's talk about you first. What it's costing you per year, one individual taxpayer. Anywhere from $1.40 to $1.60 per year.
I don't care. I want it back.
But wait a minute. You gave us the big number, $535 million. That's money worth saving. But here's my approach. And I think public broadcasting is playing this off brilliantly because they are acting all up in arms and, oh, my God, and this really is going to kill us.
Trump is trying to destroy us.
It accounts for 15% of their budget. Not a lot. All the rest of it comes from other sources, donations, endowments, et cetera, et cetera. But they're not going to mention any of that. They're going to keep going after Trump and the government and the Republicans because what is this doing? What is this doing to the
driving
average?
Up the fundraising.
Yeah, this is going to prop up the fundraising, and they are going to see record numbers of donations coming in for the rest of the Trump administration.
Okay,
So this is brilliant on them. They know they don't need the government, but by saying we do and it's been cut off, it's going to inspire people to donate. And I swear to God, they're going to make more money this year than they ever have in their entire existence.
But why do we have to fund to the tune of $535 million a specifically leftist organization?
Right. Nobody's
There's no
gonna, no.
There's no right-wing radio network that's getting it.
Joe.
Nor do I believe they should.
Nobody's going to argue with that. Nobody on this show anyway. John, and I listen to public radio. I listen to the long hair stuff. I love Kathy. I'll listen to the news in the morning. I can see through the left and the right and all that, and it doesn't bother me. But like you said, I'm not paying them $1.60 a year. I'm sorry.
Well, why in the hell do I have to?
That money's going to Netflix, brother.
And mulch.
I got a mulch problem I'm trying to deal with.
Yeah. I've decided I'm going to start stocking in toilet paper, so that's where my $1.60 is going.
A guy sent us a
It's going to be my new
picture.
thing.
A guy sent us a picture of 5 yards of mulch and 10 yards of mulch. 10 yards of mulch looks like maybe the size of a smart car, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
I have, I don't know, 6 or 7 Cadillac Fleetwood.
Those
of mulch.
40-yard, those long ones.
Back to this. President Trump is determined to destroy any news outlet that holds him accountable for his actions. You're not that good of a news outlet. You're extraordinarily biased. Your reporting isn't any better than anybody else's.
I think you're falling into a trap, that rage baiting trap.
I'm not even raging. I'm just saying this is BS. As they prepare to vote on this request, senators need to know that supporting public media is healthy for the communities in our democracy. Why is only a leftist outfit healthy for the democracy? Why? I don't want there to be a Republican outlet. Don't get me wrong. I don't want any outlets. But you obviously can afford to do this yourself. It's like universities with their endowments of $18 trillion. They keep their hand is still stuck out.
Yeah.
Spend your own bleeping money.
I guess I'm a little different from you. I think this is a brilliant marketing scheme on behalf of public broadcasting. They've got this big arch enemy, and the more they talk about it, the more they're getting private donations. It's brilliant.
Yeah. If I had a tire company on University Avenue, would it be fair to me that 6 blocks down the street, the Minnesota State Tire Company opened?
Do you just drive around grinding your teeth? Just, these sons of bitches. I can't take this.
Yes, you in the back.
I can answer your question. If you had a tire company on University Avenue, it would have been shut down when the light rail was installed, just like every other damn business on University Avenue.
You have to admit, Joe, admit this is brilliant marketing on behalf of public broadcasting.
To complain, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
Is
of
this
course.
the Kenny? What was the country music guy that we fell for? They wanted to ban his song. Try
The
that in a
yo-yo
small
guy?
town. No, remember that? It's the same thing.
Wallen?
No,
I
it
have
was
no idea. One of those drunks.
It was one of the. Try that in a small town. Remember there was all that
I
outrage.
remember
Yes,
that
I do.
song. Yeah, I do.
Jason Aldean, and remember it went to #1 on every chart because of that. It's the same thing Kenny's explaining.
Well, that's the old adage, no press is bad press.
Yeah,
Even bad press sells records.
Yeah.
Joe, my worry for you is if PBS's funding cuts off, where are you going to get a bridge documentary at for you to watch?
Yeah. Yeah, they've got that
he's got
Dick
him there.
Franke thing, Joe.
That hits hard. Huh?
I've
the
seen the Dick
orcas.
Franke thing 57 times, and they haven't done enough bridge building documentaries to suit me.
Antiques Roadshow. I tape
Right,
it. That's so
right.
good.
Okay, can I tell you
Austin
something?
City Limits.
Oh,
It's the
absolutely.
The Red
epitome of
Green
music
Show.
on TV.
Can I tell you something? The market speaks. When they have stuff that's interesting, you watch it. Well, that's all they need. They're as competitive as anybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're right. This is a scam they got
Yeah,
going.
yeah.
Let's hate Trump. Watch our collections grow, And we'll still have that on top of the $535 million they can't claw back.
Joe, they're brilliant arch villains, aren't they?
Yes.
American Masters. Wonderful.
Yep.
Wonderful.
And you notice they always trot out.
You're all going down the wrong road.
Sesame Street.
We're just
trying to calm you
angry.
down.
Grover out on the street.
I really resent it.
Hello,
I
everybody.
really resent it when people tell me that I need to calm down.
Works out well when you tell that to the missus, too.
Right. That really cool pinball machine on Electric Company. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Hey. That would be the only show you'd be familiar with.
was
So
pretty
I don't
cool
want to
pinball
hear any
machine.
more about it. You don't watch bridge building documentaries.
Who would?
How about Nova?
Yeah, you would.
Me.
And you have to
Anybody
admit,
else?
My
They
favorite
only-
is the one they did on the Mackinac Bridge. in
Why is that your
1950.
favorite?
It's just, I love that area.
but they only trot out the really, really good stuff during pledge drives.
When they're big in there, well, they're on pledge drive
See?
almost constantly
That's
now.
why they're brilliant.
Doesn't Shelby do those? Don Shelby? No?
And they got these soul song reviews that were filmed in about 1971, and they replay them about 10 times a year.
Turns out,
Those are current, Joe. Come on.
No, the one I just saw was not current at all, John.
sounds like a guy I know watches PBS public
Yes,
broadcasting.
If they got something
Quite a
on,
bit.
I watch it.
You're not opposed to the network. You're just opposed to the funding.
Thank you.
Gotcha.
Huh?
Brown noser, Chris.
Damn right.
Yeah.
I got yelled at earlier, so I got to be good.
I have great news about EcoFund Motorsports.
What's that?
Well,
You say.
Let me tell you something. Saturday, for the first time ever, the Aprilia Motorcycle Company will be at EcoFun in Forest Lake, Columbus, and you can test drive them. There's going to be Grunhofer brats and dogs served on the grill all day. Now, here's the deal. It's the first time in history that Aprilia motorcycle demo truck will be at EcoFun. So you go to the website, ecofundmotorsports.com, reserve a spot for your ride. You can ride the newest Aprilia motorcycles on the market. There's a Saturday special only deals. You can enjoy the best of Grunhofer's brats and hot dogs along with all the fixings. Everyone attending is going to get a sheet of coupons that will include an extra $100 off Yamaha generators on top of the already low 50% off MSRP. Tim's kind of like me. When he orders something, he orders a lot of it.
Yeah.
He orders a lot of it. Get the EF 2200 IS generator from Yamaha for only $5.99 with the coupon. It also may include $100 off all e-bikes and gas scooters in stock and 50% off all remaining in-stock Yamaha snowmobile gear. The grill will fire up at 11. They'll be cooking all day long. This is the event of the season at EcoFun Motorsports, Forest Lake / Columbus. It's immediately west of Interstate 35 on Highway 97. You can't miss it. Youth recreational equipment, the e-bike capital of the world. They're all pre-tariff. Motorcycles, scooters, side-by-sides, 4x4s, Yamaha jet skis, you name it. And Saturday's the day. Aprilia motorcycle test rides with Grunhofer's brats and hot dogs and coupons for everybody who attends. EcoFunMotorsports.com.
Pretty damn good.
Here's a man who spends hours in hardware stores,
knife.
sifting through the nuts and bolts of life. Joe Souchere.
Yes.
It's Father's Day coming up, right?
Yes.
Rookie's doing dad jokes off the air.
Right.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Hey, what have you found on KBid this week? I've been finding farm equipment, skid loaders, some incredible buys on tools and stuff for the shop, and just about every other thing, stuff I need and stuff I didn't know I needed. Well, wait a minute. Now, you do know what KBid is, right? KBid, that's the online auction venue where you can find and bid on just about anything from business liquidations, estates, machinery, real estate. And by the way, it's k-bid.com.
That's what it is.
Us hipsters, we call it KBid. I was actually turned on to them years ago, and they're part of my weekly list of sites to check. They always seem to have the best prices. And I love those no reserve auctions. I actually feel guilty because you can get some real, I don't want to call them steals. I'm going to say amazing deals. That's what we'll call it. And KBID, they've sold it all, and there's new items I've noticed added every single day. It's free, really easy to register. Just head to k-bid.com, make an account. That's simple. Don't worry about that. And then start bidding and buying and winning. It's that simple. Like I said, I've been on the site for years and I love it. k-bid.com, KBID, where your next great deal, it's just a bid away. And Joe?
Yes.
Before we go to John, I wanted to mention it looks like we have for those GLers that might be headed out of town right now, listening in your automobiles, your pickups, whatever. It looks like a very, 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 very serious crash blocking most of eastbound 94 in Maple Grove between Weaver Lake Road and the Split. And this is giving us gridlock in all directions. Northbound 494, westbound 94, and of course eastbound 94 is stacked up for miles. So keep that in mind if you're headed out of the metro into the metro via 94.
So a guy that's going to take his kid to a tournament in Maple Grove might have some issues?
I would exit before Hemlock, Reavers. I would find a back route in.
Thank you.
Here's John Heidt in his newsroom.
Thank you, Joe. This news brought to you by North American Banking Company. A man is in the hospital after being shot by police in Brooklyn Center late Wednesday night, according to the city's police department. Video from a neighbor showed the man coming out of the home with a running chainsaw. Minnesota BCA is investigating the shooting. It happened on the 3200 block of 63rd Avenue North around 10:30. Police called there for a domestic. Another person inside the home had called police, said a person was armed with knives. Once police got there and investigated, they brought in crisis negotiators. According to police, the man was told he was being arrested. He came out of the house with the chainsaw. The department says its officers tried to arrest and control him, and while doing so, used pepper balls. However, officers with the Brooklyn Center Police Department had to fire their weapons at that point, hitting the man. He was given aid, then brought to an area hospital, which says he is in stable condition.
Is it a ray of hope that he was shot and he wasn't at a high school graduation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another person, this is very confusing. Remember the Northtown Mall killing last week? We talked about
Yeah.
Another person has been arrested now in relation to that fatal shooting at Northtown. The Anoka County Sheriff's Office said a 15-year-old boy has been taken into custody, but no other information was released about what charges he's being held on. On Tuesday, 20-year-old Ayub Mohammed was formally charged with one count of aiding an offender to avoid arrest in connection with the death of 15-year-old Sudais Omar of Brooklyn Park. According to the complaint, Mohammed told investigators he was with Omar and one of the suspects in a car when they went to pick up the other juvenile suspect from outside Best Buy. Mohammed said he went inside the mall to use the bathroom. When he was headed back out to the car, the two juvenile suspects ran inside the store. They were yelling that Omar had been shot. One of the suspects handed Mohammed a gun magazine and put it in the pocket of his coat. The three suspects all allegedly ran away from the shooting scene into the mall and across the parking lot to Sky Zone. Mohammed said he tried to contact the other two suspects, but they didn't pick up. Police then arrested Mohammed after getting a tip that a person matching one of the suspect descriptions was in the bathroom of Sky Zone. Officers allegedly found the gun magazine hidden in his sock. Authorities say a 14-year-old suspect, who they believe was involved, has not been arrested up to this point. Whew. Got all that?
Huh?
Vaguely.
Yeah. A suspect in a North Carolina mass shooting earlier this month was arrested in Rogers yesterday. The U.S. Marshals Service said 27-year-old Charles Kincaid III is charged with first-degree murder in connection with a June 1st mass shooting in Catawba County, North Carolina, that killed one person and injured 11. A statement from the Catawba County Sheriff's Office said 58-year-old Sean Hood of Lenore had been killed, the oldest of the victims, who ranged in age from as young as 16 to 58. Officials say Kincaid is the latest person to be charged as part of the investigation. The North Star Fugitive Task Force and U.S. Marshals Service, Carolina's Regional Fugitive Task Force, assisted with his arrest in Rogers.
Joe, we have emailers that are on the town council wanting to weigh in on mulch. This is a point of order here. Hold on, because I think this matters.
It has nothing to do with what Height's talking about.
I know, but just hear me out, because I'd like to get back to this person. Joe, are you sure that your guy didn't say 4 to 5 yards of mulch? Because that would make a huge difference.
Oh, I read it on a piece of
He
paper.
did say 4D5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll get back to this email.
A Minnesota
Because
couple.
you're not good with math. That's the only
I'm
reason
not.
why I thought I would ask you that question. Okay. Thank you for the email, Paul.
Minnesota couple charged this week for allegedly submitting fraudulent voter registration applications during 2021 and 2022. Lorraine Combs and Ronnie Williams were both charged in federal court with one count of conspiracy to engage in voter registration fraud, according to court documents.
Wait a minute. What were their names?
Lorraine Combs and Ronnie Williams.
Those are not Somali names.
No. From 2021 to 2022, Combs and Williams allegedly created fake names, addresses, birthdays, phone numbers, and social security numbers, which they then used to complete voter registration applications in charging document states. They would submit the forms to a foundation. It's not named, referred to only as Foundation 1 in court documents, which would send the fraudulent applications to county election offices in Minnesota. The foundation would then pay Williams, who split the money with Combs. Cassandra Knutson, a spokeswoman for the Minnesota Secretary of State's office, which oversees elections in the state, says there were no ballots cast in connection with this. Court records add that Combs and Williams are longtime romantic partners.
This sounds to me the equivalent of stealing copper wire. What could this be worth? I'm very puzzled. Who buys voter registrations?
And how, I mean, what do you get? A dime?
I don't know
Yeah, right.
I don't understand this story at all. Who is buying a voter the foundation
Right.
paid these two fraudsters
Right.
for voter registrations.
Correct.
What does the foundation stand to gain?
Maybe help from the person that's elected in that particular district or area?
Or
But they can't vote, though.
none of this makes sense.
You-
I don't
you wouldn't be
understand
able
this.
Nobody would be able to vote with these, which is obviously why it came to fruition.
Who's our
that these
voting
people
guy?
were Arrested.
Steve Simon?
No,
Dan-
we've
No.
got his book.
Hold on, I'll grab
Dan
it.
McGrath.
Dan
Oh,
McGrath.
thank you. Good
McGrath.
job, Johnny. Where'd you
Right.
pull that out of?
Well, Dan and I
Dan
have
would
had
know what this
long
means.
conversations.
Dan and Johnny have had some spirited debates.
We've had some long email.
Well, this is
Well, basically, okay, this, as opposed to election fraud, this is more financial fraud because these two people were doing this to get whatever. Hey,
I can't
give me
believe
my
they were
$100
worth
or
anything.
whatever. Well, they must pay, I don't know, let's say $1 a thing. That's $500.
And why aren't we naming the foundation?
That's a good question. And if the foundation's doing anything wrong, that's the other part of the story to understand, which we don't know if they are. Why wouldn't they be charged?
Maybe it's a Somali foundation.
Well, the name Rick
Why
is
wouldn't they be
gaining some
charged,
ground in the Somali community.
Is it?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they be charged, though,
I don't know.
with these people?
What do you have a harder time understanding, this story or mulch?
Both.
I don't think it's a hard one to understand. I'm sorry.
It is, John, because you don't have the answer.
Yeah, John.
What's the question?
Yeah, I don't understand the question.
The question is, why does one purchase voter registrations?
The foundation?
Yes.
Why does the foundation
Yes.
purchase them?
Yes.
Probably for mailings?
To send to, like it said, to send to counties.
Yeah. Oh, what?
For what
But
purpose?
I don't know
Oh,
for
that-
what purpose.
I don't
have no idea.
understand that. Yeah.
I have no idea. Some of the names, the Star Tribune story had some of the names, and they were, well, one, I'll just say it. One was Harry Johnson. So, they were.
Hey, now.
They were obviously just sending in these
Seymour
things.
Butts.
How were
Yeah,
they
exactly.
caught? Do we know how they were
We
caught?
don't, and that would be an interesting part of the story to learn also.
Because it sounds like they were just trying to skim a little bit off the top.
Yeah.
But they got busted anyway.
Was it a whistleblower, maybe?
Yeah.
Sounds to me like they went through a lot of work for not much money.
Well,
You know what they
Joe,
were
there's
doing.
a lot of people that will do that for not much money.
I guess so.
These are a couple of white trash, and they were cashing the check down at the Legion.
Ew.
And finally, one of the bartenders or the person that sells the lottery tickets called it in.
You know what I love about you,
your
Ken?
friends, and your Johnson.
Hey.
That's exactly what I thought, but I didn't want to say it on the podcast. But
No, a couple of crackers. Haven't had a shower in a week.
why don't we, on that note, take
They got
a quick
tattoos on
break
their neck.
and hear
Your
from
girl and your
Mr.
Johnson.
I know these people. I live with them.
They're friends of mine. How about North American Banking Company, Joe Souchere?
Well, I'd like to hear about it if you speak slowly.
It's banking done differently, and now is a great time to put your home's equity to work. So you know what? If you've got that big project or expense coming up, then use your home's equity to your benefit. A home equity line of credit from North American Banking Company is going to give you flexible access to funds when you need them most. And it doesn't matter whether it's a home project or at the cabin, an unexpected expense, or something else, their experts make it easy. And the neat thing about North American Banking Company is any one of their 6 Twin Cities locations have experts to be able to help you out. And it doesn't matter whether you're in Roseville, 50th in France, Hastings, Woodbury, Shoreview, or Maple Grove. They offer all of the services as the other big national banks. Like I said, whether you're looking to buy a home, finance a new home renovation project, or perhaps get that new car that you've been thinking about, or maybe you're trying to invest in some mulch for your landscaping. Their experts are going to make it easy, and they'll be able to help you out. And they offer the same online and mobile banking options as the other banks, but the difference is you're going to get the unparalleled service of a community bank. So your first step is to check them out online today. It's nabankco.com to learn more. It's banking done differently. North American Banking Company, member FDIC, is an equal housing lender.
Did really old during that whole segment.
Yes, you did.
Benson and Hedges.
The earth is not your mother. The Joe Souchere Show.
You know what's underrated? Fake smoking.
Oh, no. If you have a good...
The world's greatest fake smoker.
I'm the best fake smoker that ever lived.
In national, international news, there's enough national, international news. We could do this till 3 in the afternoon.
Are we at war yet, John?
Not yet, no. Last I saw it, I haven't looked in about an hour, so maybe I should
Not yet.
talk. Yeah. Israel launching waves of airstrikes overnight against dozens of targets across Iran. Israel called the attack preemptive, suggested the operation's not over. Iran said top military officials, including Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps leader General Hossein Salami, were killed, along with nuclear scientists, the top ones in Iran. The attack came after Iran announced a new nuclear enrichment site yesterday following a censure from the UN's nuclear watchdog agency. A report last week found Iran conducted secret enrichment activities at 3 facilities and has amassed enough uranium at near weapons grade levels to make 9 nuclear bombs. An Israeli official yesterday alleged Iran was working to assemble a nuclear weapon. Among the attacks also was one of the nuclear reactors in Iran. It was kind of fun to read about everybody involved in that, Mossad and the Army and everything.
And they got the salami. They got the
salami.
Salami. A London-bound Air India flight crashed less than a minute after takeoff from Ahmedabad in India's western state of Gujarat yesterday. The airplane carried 242 people, including 169 Indian nationals, 53 British, 1 Canadian, and 7 Portuguese. Initial reports suggested no survivors, but authorities later confirmed 1 passenger. 40-year-old British citizen Vishwash Kumar Ramesh, seated in 11A, was found alive with minor impact injuries to his face, chest, and feet. The Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner crashed into a densely populated residential area, striking a medical college and killing at least 5 people on the ground also. The aircraft reached an altitude of about 625 feet before rapidly losing lift. The pilots had issued a Mayday distress call signaling a critical emergency, but no further communication was received. The cause of the crash is under investigation.
The fellow who lived, I saw interviews with him. I saw video of him. I don't think he has a clue as to why he lived.
No, he has said that. He doesn't understand it.
I mean, he must have just found himself walking outside the airplane.
11A got lucky. He said he witnessed a flight attendant that couldn't move, that was restricted, and he got up and moved.
The plane crashed, and he was walking outside the airplane.
It's like George Lamson on that Galaxy flight to Las Vegas in '85 or whatever.
I don't recall what you're talking about.
He was the
Matthew,
lone
what
survivor.
did you just say about the flight attendant? This is something you heard? What was it?
He could see in front of him a flight attendant that couldn't get up.
She was strapped in.
She was strapped in.
Right.
And
while they were going down or after they were already down?
I believe that was after they were already down.
Oh.
And he had apparently removed his restraint as what he thought they might crash, basically, is what I read.
Oh, really?
And so he was, he wasn't restrained at all.
Oh, interesting.
And
Have
the
you guys
hatch
watched?
door had flown off.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
And he must have been this seat now. Everybody in the world is going to always try to sit in seat 11A.
It's a window seat.
And that must be near the hatch.
Probably, because you're 14, 15.
I don't know, but next thing he knew, he was not inside the airplane.
So have you watched the footage of this?
Yes.
Many times.
It just looks like it just can't get...
It just couldn't get going.
You know, the only plane crash footage I've watched in the last 10 years is that guy that put it down in the Hudson. I refuse to watch plane
Sully?
crash. Sully. That's the only one I've watched.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't do it.
Well,
I
I'm
just
not a
can't
big
do
fan
it.
of it, Kenny, but this was so astonishing that...
There are websites, etc., for this. I know on my reels on Facebook, I had watched one plane crash from a news story, and now I get them
That's
all the
all
time,
you'll
but
see,
I
yeah.
just quickly
There's a
go
whole
by.
show
So I
devoted
don't
to
watch
this
it.
on the Smithsonian Channel
I
called
can't
Air
watch-
Disasters.
Yeah, I don't want to watch people die. I can't do that.
What about public television?
I don't think they do it.
Got it. You know, I'm going to ask a dumb question, so forgive me. Because this happened how soon after takeoff?
Instantly.
Oh, it was-
Okay,
yeah.
but my question is,
A minute.
because it obviously is so completely full of fuel, that obviously made this infinitely worse, correct?
you go.
Well, but my point is, well, okay, I guess
Did you watch the video, Chris?
Oh yeah, that's why.
Gigantic fireball.
That's what I was getting at, is because I wonder. Obviously, the fuel played a major role in this.
I know we're doing a podcast, but I just did a visual for Fireball.
Did you?
Well, the
Thank you, because I
YouTubers-
wasn't really sure what that meant.
The YouTubers
and that's what your hand
appreciated
signals
that,
told
yeah.
me.
Then it wiped out doctors in a medical
Yeah.
college.
Yeah. And it was just hanging there. The tail you could see sticking out.
And
They
we
took
don't know
pictures.
why yet. Is that correct, John?
That's correct. As of, again, about an hour ago. I just checked the news about an hour ago.
Rookie, we joke, but is that something that you guys would be briefed on at the airport?
Why would they be briefed
Well, no,
on
just
that?
Not on this
Okay,
one.
I'm just curious if that's something.
There was a lot of chatter and a lot of talk about it, because that's a Dreamliner that hasn't been.
You don't really work at the airport, do you?
I don't.
That's what I thought.
just hangs out at Plums.
Yep.
In other news, a federal appeals court last night delayed an order requiring the Trump administration to return control of the California National Guard to Governor Gavin Newsom, dealing the administration a temporary reprieve of what would have been a major reversal of its policy in the protests in Los Angeles. Earlier yesterday, a federal judge in California had issued a temporary restraining order that would have blocked the deployment of California National Guard troops during protests and returned control of the National Guard in California to the governor. The order was set to take effect at noon today, but a panel of 3 judges on the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals issued an administrative stay of the lower court's order, and set a hearing for next Tuesday, January 17th.
We still need the large extraterrestrial craft to position itself over the Earth, slide the door open, and whatever creature it is that arrived here has a bullhorn, and he says, "You people got to knock it off. You got to get your bleep together, because you're acting like idiots. No matter where we look at you, you're acting like idiots. So stop
folks,
it."
Folks, I have a message for you. Pay attention here. You're all effed, okay? You're just effed.
So take your mulch and go home.
Yeah.
Go ahead, stop paying your mortgages, withdraw your money out of the bank, start smoking Pall Malls again, and get your hands on every roll of toilet paper you possibly can.
Yeah.
Okay, see ya.
Thank you.
What Joe is referencing there, whether he knew it or not, was the classic film you see right here, The Day the Earth Stood Still.
That's
I'll
a
be
good
damned.
Klaatu comes to Earth. Stars
Yeah.
Michael Rennie, the great British actor from about 1954, where he warns the Earth, straighten up
Really?
and fly right, or you're going
I did not know that.
And for you young people watching on YouTube, what John just held up is called a DVD.
DVD.
Yes.
Yes, this is a DVD. And if you look back here, there's a lot of them.
Can you still get
Money
a
well
DVD
spent.
player?
Oh yeah,
Sure. Oh, yeah.
We used to have one.
They're
I don't
not
know
very
what-
complex.
I don't know what
No.
happened to it.
No, just a little tiny one. Works great. Doesn't
I remember
have any controls hardly.
back in the day, we had the player where you put the big tape in.
Betamax?
Yeah,
VHS?
that was the size of a mulch pile.
It was VHS or Betamax.
It was one of those.
Yeah.
We let ourselves get duped by no more CDs, no more DVDs. We let these people screw us.
Right. Yeah, you got to buy everything 3
I
times.
want hard copies I can hold in my hand.
I want CD players still in cars.
Remember the big laser disc?
Yeah.
The big giant one that you put in for a
That was
movie?
supposed to be an improvement over something.
Costed about $1,300.
Amidst back to the news, I guess. What
Remember
were we
the
talking about?
VHS just blinking 88, 88 because you didn't know how to program it?
Right.
That was at Joe's house.
Yeah. It's still doing
Yes, yes.
Amidst all the immigration talk and the immigration protests, the president hinted yesterday that the immigration crackdown is hurting farmers. He said, our farmers are hurt badly. They have very good workers. The workers have worked for them for 20 years. They're not citizens, but they turned out to be great. And we're going to have to do something about that. He said a new order would be forthcoming about that, but he gave no hints of what that might involve. Washington, D.C. will host that large military parade tomorrow, the first in over 3 decades to commemorate the U.S. Army's 250th anniversary. It coincides with Flag Day and the 79th birthday of President Trump, who is expected to give an address. The last military parade honored the end of the Gulf War in 1999, with similar events historically reserved for war victories and presidential inaugurations. Meanwhile, over 1,800 demonstrations are planned nationwide to counter the parade and protest the administration's policies.
Is that going to be on TV?
I would imagine it could be on C-SPAN or something like that.
Will that be taken in at your home?
I don't know.
Can we back up a second? Sure. That story you just did, John, about farmers and illegals.
Yeah.
I was wondering what it took to get a work visa, and why not do that? That seems like a simple answer, right? So I looked it up. It sounds dreadful to get a work visa, to be honest.
Really?
Find a job. A U.S. employer must first offer you a job and be willing to sponsor you. The employer must petition for a non-immigrant worker. You need a labor certification. You need to apply for a visa. You need to do an interview, and then you need to get approval.
Oof.
Make that easier.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying.
And is it expensive, Ken, or do you not have that
I don't
info?
see anything on price.
Okay.
Yeah.
Remember 15 years ago, I think we've talked about this, Anthony Bourdain said if you crack down on immigration, you'll never have a good meal in New York City again.
No, I do remember. Yep.
Let me ask.
Well, they're already crying on Martha's Vineyard because they might lose their Brazilian cooks.
How many?
That's a first world problem.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
he's a Brazilian.
How many is a Brazilian?
Quite a few. Is that it, John? Are you done?
I got.
Well, let's go here.
I got 6
Too many
more pages.
pauses. Let's go.
What is a pause?
That's for our interesting banter, Joe.
Yeah, I know.
I feel like I'm on Jeopardy.
As the Senate debates the GOP tax and spending bill titled One Big Beautiful Bill Act, and President Trump pushes for a July 4th deadline to sign it, some polls are saying voters oppose the legislation. The new Quinnipiac University National Poll says it's a 53-27% against, and 20% say they don't have an opinion. The same poll says 38% of voters approve of the way Trump is handling his job as president, 54% disapprove. President upside down in other issues, even immigration, 43% approving of his acting there, 54% disapproving, and 3% not offering an opinion. On the economy, 40% approve of his handling, 56% disapprove, 4% no opinion. Universities, 37% approve, 54% disapprove of his handling, 9% not offering an opinion. And on the Russia-Ukraine war, 34% approve of his handling, 57% disapprove, 10% say they have no opinion. Wall Street Journal reporting Proud Boys leader Enrique Tarrio, convicted of helping to mastermind the January 6, 2021 breach of the U.S. Capitol and then pardoned by President Trump, has announced on social media he was now a border czar for a new cryptocurrency venture called Ice Raid. The platform offers cryptocurrency rewards to those reporting immigrants here illegally to authorities. Some extremist groups appear to be capitalizing on the escalating emotions and at times destructive protests in L.A. as a recruitment opportunity or to promote the mass deportation of immigrants living in the U.S. One anonymous online account this week posted an image promoting the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement tip line to report those here illegally. On June 11th, the official White House account shared the same image. Presidential Senior Advisor Stephen Miller also retweeting it on X, and Department of Homeland Security posting it across several platforms. CIA releasing nearly 1,500 pages of previously classified documents relating to New York Senator Robert F. Kennedy and his 1968 assassination yesterday, detailing the spy agency's work to investigate his killing, as well as previously unknown contacts between him and the agency. Kennedy met with the CIA following a 1955 tour of the Soviet Union, relaying his observations to the spy agency as a voluntary informant, according to the documents. The newly available material comprises 54 documents, including memos about the agency's work to investigate whether RFK's killer had any foreign ties, as well as the response to his killing by foreign powers. One internal CIA memo detailed how the agency unsuccessfully sought to poison Fidel Castro. In 1960 and 61, it worked with a high-ranking mafia figure in Las Vegas who controlled all of the ice-making machines on the Strip.
Who would have thought?
Interesting.
Who was the commie that met with Nixon in this country? Not Brezhnev. Really ugly guy. He looked like a big ape.
Starts with an A.
Khrushchev?
Huh? Not Khrushchev.
Yeah.
Not Khrushchev.
Oh.
Anyway, I saw a video of Nixon and this guy drinking the wine, and this guy distinctly holds his wine and makes sure Nixon drinks his and swallows it before he takes a sip.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
It's one of those apes that went to Camp David or something. I don't know.
And two of the most pivotal documents.
It was Leonid Brezhnev.
Yeah, it was Brezhnev.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Two of the most pivotal documents President Lincoln ever signed are coming up for sale. Rare copies of both the Emancipation Proclamation and the 13th Amendment will be auctioned off at Sotheby's' upcoming books and manuscript sale June 26th in New York. The 1963 proclamation, originally signed by Lincoln and issued during the Civil War, declared that all enslaved people in the Confederate States would be free, although that, of course, did not happen until after the war.
I think 1863.
What did I say,
1963.
Yeah, 1863.
Yeah.
This copy, which was signed a year later, is expected to sell for at least $3 million. The handwritten amendment he signed on vellum. You guys know what vellum is? I had to look it up.
No,
it's some kind of writing
dating
material.
site.
It's paper made out of
Dating site.
Out of like cow intestines.
Oh.
John, why wouldn't these items be in the Smithsonian?
Well, that was a good question that I asked online and could find no answer.
Gee whiz, those should belong to the public, those documents.
Well, this one's supposed to sell for $8 million.
Wow.
There's your answer. That's why it's not.
It's something to show people at a cocktail party, but other than that,
There must be other copies, I'm guessing, that are already owned, don't you think?
Well, they didn't have Xerox machines.
No, but it's just like, there's 13 Constitution ones or something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there must be,
Including the one Nicolas Cage stole in the movie.
and people who would copy that stuff, Joe. Yeah.
I'd give anything if the references that either of you bring up were even halfway about something intellectual or worthwhile watching.
Hey, can you stop your bitching for a second? Because I want to say something positive here. In an effort to be more like my hero, Joe Souchere, who for some reason has memorized all the counties in this state, which to me, that's amazing. I, at one point, for about 3 days, had the Gettysburg Address memorized. And for 3 days, I'd walk around saying it over and over again.
That's a good thing.
And now all I've got a year or so later, 7 years ago.
That's like all the Latin I had to take in high school. I don't remember one word.
Our fathers brought
Our forefathers brought forth
on this continent
this great
a
nation.
new nation.
Under God, individual.
I wouldn't have got
conceived in liberty, right?
That's right.
Conceived in liberty.
Rook?
And dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal.
We got the first paragraph. Not bad.
I just can't believe how you dismiss the mistreatment of the Declaration of Independence.
In the movie?
Well, in
First
real
of all, I
life,
don't know what movie you're talking about, and I'm sure it was
the documentary.
I'm sure it was full of ribald hijinks.
Ribald.
Oh, boy, I got to look up that word now.
Mr. Souchere?
Yes.
There are 27 known surviving copies of the Leland Bulker edition of the Emancipation Proclamation, which were printed and sold in 1864. The original handwritten copy by Lincoln was destroyed in the Chicago fire of 1871.
Oh, damned.
The original signed and retained copy is held at the National Archives. So
I'll be
this
damned.
is apparently just a copy, it sounds like.
All right.
And
well, thank you, John.
We're referencing the 2004 cinematic thriller National Treasure.
Okay. Take a
46% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Thank you.
Better
Wonderful.
than that. Way better than
Just
that.
once. Just once would you come up with a good movie.
Way better than that.
Yes.
God bless America. Damn it.
Finally, thank God today is Friday. TGTI Friday. It's the scramble.
Couple of traffic notes before we get to Reusse. That crash on eastbound 94 prior to the Fish Lake split is cleared, but we still have gridlock northbound 494, westbound 94, and eastbound 94 that kicks in at Dayton Parkway. One more traffic note. As far as I know, MnDOT is still planning on closing both directions of 94 for the entire weekend between 35W in downtown Minneapolis and Huron Boulevard on the East Bank. That runs 10 p.m. Today until 5 a.m. on Monday, making this much worse. Now pay attention. Westbound 94 will be a single lane from 35E to Highway 280.
Jesus.
Boy,
Yeah.
oh boy, that's tough.
Yeah.
Hey, Pat.
Whoops. There you go, Patrick.
Kenny, stay on for 1 minute. Kenny,
I'm here.
You there?
Yeah.
Yesterday, I'm driving up to St. Michael, Albertville, right? So I'm on
Sure.
94 in the morning.
Yep.
It's like 7:30, okay?
Yep.
The cops on 169, like maybe a quarter of a mile is going south. On 169, the cops had a lane closed. They pulled somebody over.
Yeah, I'm glad you saw that. That was fun.
They had traffic backed up to St. Cloud, these idiots.
Here's no.
This guy better
No.
have been a mass murderer to cause that traffic.
Actually, Patrick, he potentially was. This was a minor crash that should have been moved to the right shoulder. The guy that rear-ended the other car was drunk off his ass.
Well,
so they had to give.
throw him in the ditch and let the traffic go by.
Well, they had to give him the test. He had to fail the test.
They were backed up. Honest to God, they were backed up to damn near to St. Michael High School.
This is another one. If Reusse ran the airlines, here we had if Reusse ran the state patrol.
Actually, Patrick, Kenny's not telling you the whole truth. My reports are telling me that this was an ICE detainee ordered by President Trump.
It's Trump's fault, Pat.
Yes. He was a drunk Norwegian. Let's blame him on it. Let's get ICE involved here, for Christ's sake. Unbelievable. When are we going to start throwing out Norwegians? Come on, let's go.
Come on, let's go.
Throw them in the ditch and let's move it.
Anyway, did you watch your Oilers last night?
It didn't make it to overtime, and I was terribly crushed when the Panthers tied it with 19 seconds left.
God, yeah, that didn't look good, did it?
No.
I turned it off, turned it back on, but the backup goalie won the game for him, so now our Oilers have a chance. That's okay.
That's 2-2, right?
Yeah, 2-2.
But they went nuts on, when did they play? Monday night?
Oh, yeah, 5-6-1.
They had 80, 90 minutes in penalties. They were thugs. They had lost all sense of decorum. They just went crazy. They just went crazy.
Old-time hockey, baby.
Yeah, old-time hockey.
Broad Street Bullies. Whenever you need some entertainment, you know, it's a dull day, middle of the summer. The Twins are getting beat 23-2. You can go find the Broad Street Bully videos and entertain yourself for a half hour because it's unbelievable. I can guarantee you those guys were bigger criminals than the guy that they pulled over up on 169.
Yeah, that's right.
Street bullies. They should have all been in prison.
Hey, Bellows!
Looks like it's available on YouTube.
What?
Possibly. Broad Street Bullies.
Oh, God, yes.
God, yes.
We just lost Kenny.
One of the greatest moments in history. Former Fighting Saints hero for Joe Souchere, Freddie Shero, was the coach.
Yeah.
He was Riley. He was Riley's guy, man.
Yeah.
You know, Riley. He was so happy when he went out there and they had a bloodbath at the St. Paul Auditorium. It was terrific. So,
hey, what do you think of Oakmont?
I think it's overrated. It's kind of boring, don't you think?
I don't like aesthetically. It's Windy Ranch Acres.
Well, here's the other problem: the holes are so close together.
Yeah.
That, they're kind of playing slow, and And here's what I loved. I heard this pontification 20 minutes on Golf Channel. They had the guy who redesigned it on the latest, and he's Hansi or whatever his name is. He's fine, but they were talking about the members want to keep the vision of Henry Fonz, who bought the land and built the golf course. He was a steel magnate, I guess, in the late 1890s. Mm-hmm. Well, when they were hitting at 170. Mm-hmm. Now they're hitting at 370. It's kind of hard to keep the vision, isn't it? Let's not be idiots here.
I did a little homework on why a freeway, the Pennsylvania Turnpike, runs through the course.
Yes.
Apparently, it follows the route of a railroad that preceded it. And as rich as those guys might have been in 1904, I guess they didn't have enough money to stop the railroad, so the railroad stayed. And then when the railroad ended, then that became a freeway, and they just figured the hell with it. They just let it happen.
Yeah, well, a lot of eastern courses are that way. I mean, like Bethpage, which was it was a public course. It was never considered this great thing until they redesigned it. But there's a big road or some damn thing in the middle, and you got 3 or 4 holes on one side, and the other side, up a mountain, you got to go over on the other side, and for the other 14 holes right in the middle of it. It's so all the drunks stay on the side closest to the clubhouse, which leads to some great taunting during big events there.
The Oakmont deal is the rough is punishing, the greens are fast. It's very difficult, but they must cut that rough for the members. Either that or they have no members who are above a 5 handicap.
But they let it grow till I'm sure they cut it after I'm sure that people want to come for 2 weeks and pay big money to play with their buddies and, play it like it was the open course. But they, by July, they got to be cutting that rough. Or what fun would it be, for goodness sake?
They asked a lot of the pros what an 18 handicapper would shoot there, and the general answer was about 140. 140.
What do you think old Patty might have shot there at the prime of his game?
Maybe 240.
Maybe. I'd say that, 240. Now, what do they like if you're playing Oakmont? Is it okay, expensive to let out a stream of screaming profanities when you hit a bad shot? Can you do that? Or not?
And if you did, you'd certainly be noticed because there's nowhere to hide.
Yes.
There's no trees whatsoever.
Yes.
Just on the perimeter.
Yep. And when was the tree planting craze? Like before World War II, and then during, and then in the 50s, everybody was putting in trees, and now they're getting rid of trees.
I don't like the trend, but it's happening. I happen to like trees. I'm pro tree.
Yeah, you are.
It doesn't bother me to have a tree on a golf course.
Well, I'm looking out I'm actually driving somewhere. I'm pulled over, but you know what? We really need, Joe, here. We got to get some drought conditions back, though. It looks like the next 6 days is rain. What's going on? Did you see what they did with Kenny? Was it not? Were you up in Alex yesterday, up in that area?
I'm trying to watch Broad Street Bullies. What was the question?
Were you in the Alexandria area?
Was it not raining in Alex yesterday?
Oh, God, no. No, it rained a lot yesterday afternoon and all night long.
You know what they did with the Class A tournament, though? The baseball tournament? It was raining so hard in St. Cloud. They had one game that was going to extra innings. The last one, they put them in a car and drove them to Alex to play the rest of the game.
Really?
Yeah, because they wanted to get it played. So the Alex field must have been in better shape than the St.
Must have been.
Did you see, Pat, speak? I didn't think the high school baseball tournament was coming up in Jordan yesterday. Yes. Mankato East was playing Delano.
Yes.
Both pitchers had complete game no-hitters, and East won 2-0.
I was out at Delano on Tuesday and wrote about the athletics, not the athletics, what are they, the high school team going to the state tournament for the first time since 2014 with first-year coach Toby Hansen, and they won 10-0 the opener. But then they got no hit yesterday, and their guy too, Scanlon, who's going to St. Thomas, he pitched a no hitter too. But I guess they kicked the ball all over and walked a couple guys and kicked the ball all over to give away 2 runs early.
Who's playing in the 4A title? Creighton and who?
Creighton has got who the hell?
I'll look it up.
Is that at Target Field?
Yeah. But again, tomorrow it's supposed to rain, and as crazy and paranoid as the groundskeepers are over there, they're probably trying to keep them off there or something. I don't know. But they're supposed to play at all 4 games tomorrow at Target Field, yeah. And the Twins are gone for a while. And the way the Twins are going now, who gives a damn if the field's any good when they come back anyway?
I tuned in that game yesterday on the radio. I swear they were ahead, and then they lost 16 to something.
I think it's the first time. Is it the first time? Only the second time in franchise history they've given up 16 twice in the same series. That was.
Well, it's damn near the same.
So yes, okay.
It was the same. Wait a minute. They lost twice to Texas by 16 runs.
Well, they gave up 16 on the first game of the series Tuesday, and they gave up 16 yesterday.
Holy mackerel!
And the lefty we got, that Joey Wentz, we claimed him on waivers. He had a little rough time, didn't he? Like 3-4 walks and then a home run or 2.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
He had a bad first outing, Pat.
Yeah. Well, Big Bailey, if Big Bailey plans to pitch like this, they got no chance to compete. So, because they're already missing 2 starters. So, anyway.
Well, how about we check in with you Monday live?
All righty. Be happy you don't own a public golf course that people come and play, and you need the money, because
you want drought. You want the drought.
You got. Oh, I love drought. I want to hear that grass crinkle.
All right,
crunch. He wants to hear a crunch.
Nice crunchy.
Thank you
lawn.
very much for that. Thank you.
Only because
it is
really
only because they come to us all
By
the way.
Sorry, just I'll let you know, they did beat Farmington. And
who did?
CDH, and they'll face Minnetonka, which beat Champlain Park 8-6 Saturday at Target
Boy,
Field.
isn't that a game of who do you root for? Creighton and Minnetonka.
I have no problem choosing.
My choice has been made already.
Which caker are you rooting for, Kenny?
To what?
I excuse yourself.
I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself.
The traveling Lymans are in Eden Prairie, and it's on this day.
Joe, today is Friday, June 13th.
John H. Stevens was born on this day in Brompton Falls, Quebec. A farmer, merchant, editor, and legislator, he built a house on the west bank of St. Anthony Falls in 1849. On this day,
on June 13th,
in 1838, Captain Frederick Marryat, author of numerous sea tales, most memorably Mr. Midshipman Easy, visited Fort Snelling while on a trip to investigate American democracy. The next year, he published Diary in America, which contains several chapters on his Minnesota experiences. On this day,
June 13th,
in 1886, more log jams. A 4-mile log jam closed the St. Croix River at Taylor's Falls. The jam was so spectacular, Kenny, that excursion trains traveled from Duluth to see it.
Wow. You could walk across the river on top of the logs. That's awesome.
Kenny, shoot, you missed an opportunity there. I thought you were going to say, wow, I didn't realize that the Broad Street Bullies game was that long.
And finally, on this day,
on June 13th,
in 1968, a tornado killed 9 people in Tracy, Minnesota, which is in Lyon County. Mm-hmm. Wow, that must have been a bad one.
Without any warning.
And then on this day,
on June 13th,
in sports disappointment history, this day,
June 13th,
in 1978, the Minnesota Kicks lost to the New York Cosmos 4-2 and set a new attendance record at Met Stadium.
And not one person knew the score of the game.
Right.
Presumably, they mean a new attendance record for a soccer game. Or maybe it was the building record.
Might have been.
I don't know.
Because where we just went and got loaded, we didn't really watch the game.
I remember the parking lot was a sea of, it was a fog of marijuana smoke.
Empty beer cans.
Beer. And
you mean dope.
I mean the dope.
Dope smoke.
Yeah, a lot of people smoking dope.
May I? The first memorable phrase from Broad Street Bullies. The Flyers turned our sport into a savage spectacle.
Ooh.
That's great writing.
And they really did. It was brutal.
When you got blood oozing down their faces.
Yep.
Yeah.
But they won. I think they won how many in a row?
Let me.
Well,
I'm only
important.
I'm only 4 minutes in.
Yeah. Well, you got a lot of watching ahead of you. Those have only been available for about the last 40 years.
I've got a busy weekend re-memorizing the Gettysburg Address. That's my only plan for the weekend.
4 score, huh?
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, GLers.
Have a great weekend, huh?
Sure.
You got any big plans?
Yeah. What are you doing this weekend?
Yeah, I got.
You know what he's going to do? He's going to subscribe to the Garage Logic YouTube channel, just like each and every one of you should right now, because you can watch the show live each and every single day on the Garage Logic YouTube channel. That's right. There's also full segments. There's video shorts. There's behind-the-scenes footage. Just search Garage Logic on YouTube and search Garage Logic on all of our social media channels, which includes Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And also sign up for the Daily Logician. That email comes right to your inbox each and every single day, and it includes the most recent episode of the podcast.